Hello, this is Christine with Cocoa Daisy, and today I wanted to share with you my setup for December using the Cocoa Daisy December planner kits and memory keeping kits. I tend to, because everything is coordinated, it's kind of nice to be able to pull items from all of the kits. And I do that, I pull items from the memory keeping kits and use them in my planner, and then vice versa. So it's really nice and it makes things super easy if everything's all coordinated together. Let's see, so this month I am using my red, I believe it's called Touch Me Red Vanderspec. And that's a custom planner that you can order. And the reason I've started trying to kind of once in a while add, because they're a little on the pricey side, but I'm trying to add these to my collection a little bit, because when I tend to fill my planner and use it, there's so much in it that it's kind of hard for me to carry it around or even really shut it. And the nice thing about the Vanderspecs is you can get the larger rings and an extended closure. So it's a couple bonuses to these, and the leather is just, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful red. So that's the planner that I'm using this month. And then the first thing I'll kind of go over is my pockets on the inside here. I love to do this kind of first. I like to be able to pull all of the bits and pieces and put that together. And this is kind of one of my favorite parts. And one of the things I wanted to mention is, because our December kits are usually geared toward kind of the holidays and winter time and that. And then we also will generally have a Christmas add-on kit. So there will be a lot of Christmas bits and pieces. So what I found is that through the last few years, I've kind of created quite the stash of Christmas bits and pieces. So there was a lot of fun stuff for me to pull from and just kind of use over. I didn't feel like I had to make a whole lot of new clips. There was a lot of pretty clips that came in this year's kit, and then there was also some stuff that I had already made, like this little polar bear from last year. So it's fun to just be able to kind of pull that stuff and use it again. So make sure you always go through your stash. But what I did this year is I always start kind of with my basis. I start with some tags. And in the kit, in a number of the kits, we put a tag, just because to me tags are so versatile. You can use them for so many things. So I like to tuck one in just about each of the kits. Just again, because there's so much you can do with those. And actually, if you didn't end up using this in your planner or in your memory keeping, you can always use it as a gift tag this time of year too. So that's kind of fun. But there was already a few die cut tags, and then I used a journal card. But going back to the tags, you can make tags from just about anything. You can make tags from die cuts, you can make them from the journal cards, or even you can make tags from some of the backer cards that are used that our product comes packaged in. So, I mean, the designs are so pretty, you could totally make tags. And actually, that's something else you could do. You could recycle these and cut these into gift tags for presents this year. How pretty would those be on just like some plain craft wrapping paper with a white bow? Super pretty. So that is kind of the way I start, is with my tags. And then I go in and I'll tuck a few die cuts in and layer a few things, and then I'll add the clips toward the end. And these two were a couple from last year. And then this one was one of our new ones, the little mug with the scarf, which was so cute. So I just kind of tucked those in, and then I've got my little pencil there and my notepad and my stickers. So that is the front pocket. One of the things I just wanted to mention, one of the ways that I get everything to kind of stay where they need to be is I'll kind of attach them to each other. So I have the notepad stuck in here, and you can see when I lift that a little bit that the other items move. So what I've done is I've kind of layered little pieces of sticky dots in between, and that kind of keeps it all fastened in there without it moving around too much. So that works out well. And then on to my pages. And I'm just gonna kind of page through and talk about a few things. I have this kind of polka dotted piece of acetate that I like to put just kind of to protect my first page, my dashboard page or my tab page. And we had these beautiful die cut vellum snowflakes. They're so pretty. I don't know if you can see. There's a little bit of a shine to them. And I use those in a couple spots. I put a couple of them on the acetate. It's real subtle, but it's pretty. See if I can turn that so you can see it. There it is. And I just used a couple little glue dots, or if you use just a little bit of adhesive, it doesn't show through that much. And then one of the clips from one of our kits, I don't remember which one this was in, but it has the pretty little velvet and the tulle on the top. And then our card, the packing card that goes in the kits. This is always kind of a fun little addition. This one is actually the print from the printable, because we used them all up. I didn't have one left for me, so I used the printable. It comes on the printable sheet, so I cut it out and I used that. And then on the back there's a little note from me, and it just kind of talks about some ideas of why I did what I did with some things in the kits, or something special that the kits mean to me, or even just something new that I'm excited about that we've included in the kits. So there's always a little note from me on there. And then the first page, and a lot of times what I will do is I will use, because I like to kind of play around a lot with my pages to try and come up with ideas and different things, I will always kind of grab two sets, or I'll grab a set and then I'll take a set that's like a reject, like it, you know, was a seconds, and I can still use part of it. And so I take that and then I just add a section to that. So I have this one that has the December on it, and then I have this one that starts my daily section. And I covered this with some patterned paper, and then we had this pretty gold foil overlay that was in, I believe, in the Christmas planner add-on. And I switched things up a little bit. We talked about I talked about the fact that my planner gets so bulky, and so I'm trying to kind of find some ways to cut back on that. Previously, what I've done is I've used the stripe page from the personal size and made a whole little section in here using those for my menu planning. But I wanted to try and cut down on the bulk a little bit, so I took that out this time, and I'm using my A5 size larger stripe. I used to use that kind of for scheduling or brain dump, but I'm going to try kind of consolidating things a little bit, and I'm using the A5 stripe for my menu planning. And what's kind of fun is we received this stamp set in with the planner kit, and we had another set previously, and these are additional little words that will work and fit in the tabs. There's a tab that you can stamp and then cut out, or it will actually fit. They are meant to fit right in that little section on our tabs. And there was one in there that said what's cooking, and I thought that was fun. So I put that on there. So that's kind of my menu planning section. And the number stamps are from the stamp set that was in the 12 by 12 memory keeping kit. So that's those numbers there. So I just stamped those. And I did something a little different that I thought was fun this time, is I actually chose two colors. I chose a red and kind of a blue. And so I stamped the red on the pinks and reds, and then I stamped the blue. So it kind of has a little ombre effect with the dates. They're real subtle, and I like how that turned out. So I think I'm going to do that again. And then on the back, or just on a piece of my notepad, I can write my grocery list on the back of that. And then normally you would see my section of the week on 2 pages, and I moved that to another planner, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing with that in a minute. So if you're wondering where that is, I'm going to get to that. I'll show you that in a minute. And then in one of our kits, we had this pretty vellum, and I think it was the classified planner. I don't quote me on that. I don't remember. We're already working on May and June, so I have way too many things in my head. So I apologize if I don't recall what was in what kit right now. You have to excuse me this time around. But what I did is I thought it would be fun to emboss on this with some white embossing powder. So I used the stamp set that was in the classified planner add-on. Yes. And there was a winter, and then there was a I'm staying in bed, because I'm not a real big fan of winter, especially living in Michigan. It's not so much the snow, it's the constant gray days and lack of sunshine. But so I thought this was kind of fun, and I stamped that and then just embossed it with some white embossing powder. And it's real pretty and subtle on that vellum, but it looks really, really nice. Actually, I don't want to bring it up too close. I don't want it to get blurry, but there you go. Can you see that? It turned out really pretty. It would be fun to do with the snowflake stamps as well. So, or our cute Yeti would be fun on there too. We had the little funny Yeti stamp. That was in the pocket memory keeping kit. And then another sheet of vellum. And then this is just the calendar. I did not do a goals page. I wanted to think of something different to do with this page, because I kind of have a goals section and I hadn't really used it the last couple months. So I'm trying to think of what I want to put on here. I was gonna possibly put my sleep tracker on here, but we're already on the 13th of December, so that might not happen. So I'm kind of leaving that open of what I want to put on there. Calendar page, I did not add a whole lot. I added some more of those beautiful vellum snowflakes, a few of the die cuts, and some of them I raised up with a little bit of foam just to kind of give it that dimension. I love to do that. I just stamped, and one of the things I could have done too is, like, for the boys' Christmas vacation, I could have stamped that too. And then just to kind of denote when our shipping is normally supposed to happen. We're having a huge issue this month, but I'm not going to get into that because my blood pressure will go up. Anyway, so what I did then is to denote that is to add a few little of the snowflakes. So I thought that turned out pretty. That's my calendar, and that's the forward planning. And I've started including just this heavy acrylic dashboard with some pictures of my honey in there. And then the first page of my dailies. And my dailies are what I use all the time. So, but because of the way that they're printed, it would show up like this would be your kind of your first page. It would just be one that you don't use. It's an extra one, because the dailies are set up to be a 2-page spread. So what I do now is I cover that with some pattern paper, and that's what I have here. I just kind of covered that that first kind of that back of that with some pattern paper. I added a little die cut snowflake. I don't know if you can see that, and then one of our pretty gold foil die cuts, and then another die cut kind of flag or banner on there. So I think that turned out cute. And then so I love to use the printables. We have, if you only can manage to get one kit, or even if it's just the planner add-on, maybe you don't use our inserts, I really, really, really suggest downloading and printing our printables. They're free, and there's so much on them. There's so much that you can use on them, and you'll see a few different spots where I've used them. So there's even pieces of like pattern, there's big die cuts you can cut out, there's pages that you can cut out and punch and put in your planner, or you can make tip-ins for your Dory booklets. Like this guy is so cute with the little cactus. So there's a lot that you get in there. There's some more die cuts to cut out. There's some cards that you could cut out and put in your planner. So I really encourage you, they're free, and to print those out and use them. And that's what I've done here. I just have some lists that I create every month, and I just print them out. I back them with some pattern paper. I add maybe a little bit of embellishment, and then I slip those in there. And this is just kind of for my little list. What I've been using this for rather consistently, and this actually, this stripe here is from one of the printables as well. And I thought each line could be part of a list. So a lot of times there's a lot of TV shows that you're trying to remember, or that you kind of come across when you're looking on Netflix or Prime and you're like, yeah, I want to watch that. And so that's kind of where I would write that in. And then this little sheet, I wanted to show you we did something different, and it's really fun, is in the main planner kit, we included this little pom-pom fringe. And it's so cute, and it doesn't matter if you have a ring bound or if you have, one of the Dory booklets. In the Dory booklets, you could totally run that up along the side or even along the bottom page, or a bottom of one of the pages, but that was included in the main planner kit, and I just kind of added it on there. It's really cute, just kind of peeking out at the bottom of my binder. And this was something kind of fun that I just kind of made. I have a bunch of these larger paper clips, and this little bead cluster, if you can see that, was already kind of a little cluster like that, and I found it at, I think it was Michael's maybe, and I just slipped it on the paper clip, and it turned out really cute. And that I just kind of have on the side. It helps me find that page, because that's always one of the pages I need to go to. And then a pocket. I did a different pocket this time. I actually found one that I really like on the silhouette, and it's great because you can size it to whatever size you want. And this size, I like that it's a little smaller, so it's kind of a cute layer in my planner. I don't like everything to be exactly the same size. I like having visually the different layers and stuff and things peeking out. I like that. And then, so that's where I have my stickers. And then I stamped again this, the little stamp for the tab actually fits in there. And I didn't use one of these words. What I found was that the little "I'm staying in bed" fit in there, so I thought that was cute on my little tab. And then this was actually a recycle from last year, I think it was, and I just added some Post-its that I had and put that in there. I thought that looked really cute. I took one of the journaling cards and added my one little word, just ran that right through the printer. I kind of positioned the wording so it would fit right in the bulb. I thought that turned out cute. And I added a couple of little die cut snowflakes. This is from the printable, from the printable sheet. I added that on there. I thought that was cute. And then the little Simon note card from the Planner Classified. And then I added the one of the journaling cards that has the calendar on it. So I just kind of layered those in there. I didn't stack them all up. So one reason is visually I like it. The other reason I do that is it distributes the bulk so that you don't have your planner all like heavy on one side. And this actually, this part of the bookmark is from the printable as well. And then I just added a few little die cuts on there. And then this side, what I did is I used one of my weekly stripe pages because I just thought the colors were so pretty. And I do that, if you've watched my videos, you've seen me do it before. It's something I do quite commonly. So that is the weekly stripe page, and I just cut it and adhered it on there. I added some of the snowflakes. And then the other thing that I put on there is, instead of making a shaker card this month, I wanted to do something a little different. And I've done this before when we've had the enamel dots, but this time around we had this pretty set of, there's little stars in there, there's little pearls, there's little gems. So what I did is I picked out some of the gems, and then I just kind of had them kind of going down the bookmark, and then I glued them on with a little bit of white glue. And what I thought was so pretty is they look like little bits of melted snow. And I thought that was really, really pretty because they also kind of show the color through what they're laying on, but they look like little pieces of melted snow to me. So I thought that was really pretty. So that's my bookmark. And then we're just gonna flip to my other divider pages. And I use the dashboard set that we have, and the dashboard set has A5 and personal size. And I use both in mine. So I used the one dashboard for that side and some pattern paper for this side, add a little journal card. And then I use the smaller set, I back them up to each other to divide that section even a little bit more. But you could totally cut these down and use them as bookmarks. You could use them just as, again, anything like this time of year that you can turn into a tag or a card for wrapping. To me, any of that stuff that you're not using in your planner that you're worried about, oh, I'm not using it, what am I gonna do? All of that stuff can go toward pretty packages. So there's a great way to use up everything this time of year. And another dashboard and some paper. And then this section, what I had been doing is I had been working in my Simple Dori. The way that I do that is I like to sketch everything out first. And I had been doing that in here, but I mentioned that I'm trying to cut down on bulk, and that section was getting rather large. So I'm going to show you what I did with that here in just a minute when I get done with this. But so you won't see a lot in this section, but I did want to, if you wanted to keep it in your main planner, I did want to show you an option for that. So if you're working in the Simple Dori and you're collecting sketches, or you make up your own sketches, what I like to do is I'll just have some graph paper to write those out, and then I had a little bookmark so I can flip to it. And then I made a little pocket envelope that if I had extra, like if I had printed out some little pictures, or if I had some ephemera or anything like that, I could tuck it in here and it would be ready to go. So that's why I have the little envelope there. And then my other little bookmark, just a couple little die cuts on there. So that's what that section is for. And then just kind of my personal notes section, and I had to take it out because just in case anyone who shouldn't see their name on my present list, I don't want that, but I had my gift list was in here. So that's what I had in here. And this was something that I had made last year that was kind of fun, that I kept in, that I pulled back out. So it had the little shaker card with the little sequins in it. And then on this side, it's actually open. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of open. And it's a piece of overlay that I stitched on. And then you could tuck your receipts in there, or I actually have Zach's little Christmas list of what he wants tucked in there. But that section I use for my Christmas list. And then my goals. And this again was a printable, and I just added the pretty, this makes me think of a sweater. I think that paper is so pretty. That was from our 12 by 12 memory keeping kit. And then I actually have highlighted off a couple things. And then just a couple more where it's the dashboard, pattern paper, and then just a little journaling card to decorate. And I thought this paper was so pretty just as it was. I didn't add anything else to that. And then my pen loop, I added, we had, this pen loop was from June, but it was such a pretty red. And what I always do with my pen loops is I attach them to something neutral. So like you could do it with a heavy cardstock, you could do it with a neutral colored thick pattern paper. I have this kind of extra thick acetate, and I've attached mine to that so that it doesn't matter what month if the red kind of goes with that month. So like next month in February, we'll have, you know, kind of some reds and pinks and that. So I'll be able to use that again. So that is my planner setup. And then, I wanted to mention, I talked about pockets in the, and I don't remember which kit, so again, forgive me for that. We had these adhesive planner pockets. So you could totally use these to create a little pocket for your stickers or something like that too. So I wanted to mention those. And then we also had a new type of bag this month. And this one, we took this beautiful kind of evergreen artwork and have that along the bottom, and then it's clear at the top with little round snowflakes falling, so you can see that. And then we had the little tassel on it. I wanted to mention there were some people who were having some trouble with their zipper, and all it is it's just because this plastic is kind of rigid and it's pushing those teeth straight up. So it's just a matter of after you've used it a while and that softens, they'll lay down. But until then, there's a real simple thing you can do, is that's just push down behind the zipper with your thumb, and it will work fine because it just pushes those teeth down instead of standing straight up. It's hard for it to grab the teeth if they're sticking straight up, but if you just push it down, then it's fine. So I just wanted to mention that until it gets kind of softened, and then it works just fine. But that was just something that we had a few people mention. So there's just a little trick to that till it softens up. But didn't that turn out pretty? So that is my main planner setup. So now what I wanted to talk about was something that I'm doing for the Simple Dori. So the Simple Dori is our new, and we have a kit now for this that began with our January kit. And our Simple Dori is set up to make memory keeping super simple in a traveler's notebook style. Instead of like if you were doing a traditional 12 by 12 album or a pocket album. So this is just a little bit different because it's in the booklet form, but it makes, I think, there's so much less real estate to cover in this than a large 12 by 12. It can be kind of intimidating. This to me is so much faster and in a way really rewarding because you can get a whole little booklet done each month. But so my system for that is that I like to try and keep track of kind of as the week goes on, if there's a certain day that I take a picture that I want to record, I have an idea. So I needed a spot to write down those notes. So like let's say on Saturday the 1st, which actually you can see that on here, I had written down that I wanted to have a picture of my photo of my December planner setup. And that was working fine, but the only issue was it didn't really feel like everything was in one spot. It was kind of getting lost to me that I was having to page through to find them. So I started doing it on my week on 2 pages, and that was working really well. But again, then I ran into the issue not only of it adding a lot of bulk, but I ran into the issue of I would have this open with all of my tasks and everything at my desk in my office, and then I'd maybe be able to switch gears for a half hour and go into my crafty room. Well, then I was constantly back and forth with opening the planner up to the sketching and trying to find a spot for that and then having to bring it back to the office. And it just felt a little chaotic to me. And I wanted to have a designated planner just for working with my Simple Dori and working with the sketches. So what I did is I took this pretty pink, because it's one of my favorites, planner, and this is a Kiki K. And I went back and I dug through my stash and I pulled out what was one of my absolute favorite kits that we had done. And that was the one with the September and May. So May of last year, we did the birds again. And that it's just one of my all-time favorites. And so I kind of decorated the my pink planner with these items, and I'm repurposing them. So everything for my Simple Dori is going to be in here. Everything as far as my memory keeping, my notes, my sketches. And since I'm also starting to include the instruction sheets with the Traveler's Notebook memory keeping kits, I kind of wanted to kind of break things down a little bit. And so I just started this system, and so far I'm really loving it. So I wanted to just kind of go through it a minute and kind of show you how I've broken this all down. So I have a section here that is just sketches. So, and again, I repurposed and used a lot of the pieces from this past kit. And I wanted to just quick mention, if there is a past kit that you've had that you absolutely loved, you can take the dashboards, you can take the die cuts, you can take all of that stuff and set up a planner for something special and use it this way. So the only thing that you would want to do is cover up the calendar. And like here, I used some die cuts, and I simply covered up the May, and then I covered up the May on the tab there. So it's really easy to repurpose this stuff. So you can set up a planner for a lot of different things. So I'm just gonna kind of page through and show you what I did. So this is my kind of overall sketches section. And I cut out little, I used my silhouette, and I had that cut out some pockets. And these will be for just slipping in extra little pictures that I want to include, or ephemera, ticket stubs, anything like that that I want to just, that I need a little pocket for. And so again, you're going to see all this great stuff, and I love the idea of going back through my stash and using it again. It makes me very happy. So here is my sketches section. And what this is this is just kind of a general section. If I have an idea for a sketch, I don't know what it's going to be used for, or maybe it's a past sketch that I had in my booklet. And so that's just kind of the home for those. And then the next section is going to be my Simple Dori section. And what I've done is I've actually broken that down for this month and then next month, because as I'm working in this, what I'm doing, and this is where you're going to see, and I'll go back to this pocket here in a minute, but this is where you're going to see I took my week on 2 pages and I'm putting them in here. So this is where, and they're all dated, but this is where I can write my note about this was the particular photo that I took that I want to use for that day, and the journaling I can pull from my Instagram post, or just a note like, okay, the photo that was from Zach's concert. If I wanted to write out some thoughts for journaling, I could. But when I look at this, it's on a whole week. So when I go and I have some time to sit down and actually work in my booklet, I know what photos I'm going to be working with. I know what photos I need to print, and I kind of have an idea of the stories that are going to go along with them, or the journaling. So what's nice is that's all written down. And then I have, then after that section, so this is for this month. So then after I have my week on 2 pages, which is where I will keep my notes, then I have some of the grid paper, and I've started writing out some ideas. So these are some things that I maybe want to use in my Simple Dori, just some ideas. There was something in particular I wanted to do with the circle stamps that we got in the Christmas planner kit. I had an idea on what I wanted to do with those, so I wrote some notes there. And then I also I started to kind of plan them out. So I've kind of sketched them out, and one of the tricks that I have for that is I have a little piece of, and you can do this with heavy cardstock or anything like that, but this is just a thick piece of that acrylic that I've cut down and made a little template out of to trace. So I can trace, and then I know kind of where my center mark is, so I can draw a line. So my sketches are ready to go, and I just have that little template handy, which is nice. So that just goes in that little pocket. So now I know when I go through my Simple Dory and I want to plan it out, I have the spaces set up for me to do my sketches. I have an idea of the title, and then all I have to do is flip back through to my week on 2 pages, and I have the dates. So if I want to date that page, everything is all set up. So to me, this seems like a system where everything is together, and I can grab this if at night we're sitting together, or I'm I have a few minutes before bedtime. I can sit and I can write out some thoughts or ideas. I can write out a sketch, so I can keep that creativity going. And then when I do have that block of time to sit down and actually work in my booklet, it's all ready to go. And then the same thing is for next month. So I have my next month, so I have January's week on 2 pages. They haven't been dated yet. I haven't had time to do that, but I've got them in here. And so if I have an idea that kind of pops in my mind for something that, a theme or a title idea, or maybe even a particular picture that I want to make sure I take, like maybe a Happy New Year shot that I had thought of, I can write that down and kind of plan ahead for that. So that's what those sections are for. And then the Worksheets section. So this is going to be for, because I want to make sure that every month in your instruction sheet that it's a fresh new idea, that there's new tips. I'm going to keep track of the sketches and the layouts that I do in this section, so that way I'm not repeating any ideas and trying to keep it real fresh for you. And if there's something in particular, a technique or an idea that I want to make sure I share with you, that's what I'm going to have in this section. So everything is really broken down really well. And then the last thing that I've done is I've taken and made 3 more sections for projects that I have in the works. So I have a wedding album that I'm working on. It's a mini notebook. I have that. I have our honeymoon traveler's notebook that I'm working on. And then I have a general travel one that I'm working on. So it's nice as if I want to switch gears and I want to, or I have time to work on any of those, or I have thoughts about what I want to do with them, I have sections for those as well. So that is what my system is going to be. It's basically taking those week on 2 pages, and you could do this with a few daily sheets if you wanted to. You could do this with the weekly stripe pages if you wanted to, but it's a great way to use all of those pages and set it up in a separate planner for something very specific. And it's also a way, as I've mentioned a couple times, to repurpose a past kit that you absolutely love. And so it real simple. I've got this set up as a week on 2 pages. I write down my notes, photos that I'm going to take. I've got them by the dates. And then I take those ideas and I start my sketches. And then from my sketches, I go to the Simple Dory and then implement it. So that is going to be my system. I'm excited to start working with it, and maybe this weekend, we'll see. But and I'll share as we go along and let you know how it's going. But that is my little new sketch planner. And then this was, again, the December setup. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Happy to answer anything you have. If there's anything that you would like me to touch on a little bit more, or you have a real specific question about a particular product, or even if there's something that you would like to see us include in upcoming kits, I'd love to hear your feedback. And again, thank you all so much, and have a wonderful holiday season. I'll talk to you soon.